Aira and Okarun battle the classical composer spirits. As Okarun struggles to avoid their attacks, Turbo Granny orders him to feel the rhythm. Hello and welcome to Dandadan, Season 2, Episode 8, aka Episode 20 overall. You can do it, Okarun. So yeah, as you can guess from that opening, Aira and Okarun are going to battle classic composers. This is basically Dandadan's music genre. That's kind of like the running gimmick of Dandadan, is that it combines every genre together. So we start off this episode where the last one ended, where Aira and Okarun are in the music room, and all these composers come to life, are about ready to attack them. So the composers are pissed off because someone was playing terrible music in the music room. As you probably remember from the last episode, Turbo Granny was hitting the keys, trying to train Okarun to hear the rhythm of the fight. And the composers are pissed off and they ask, who is the one creating such filthy sounds in my orchestra? And Okarun and Aira kind of look at each other and they're like, well, it wasn't us, so let's just get out of here. And that's when Turbo Granny pops up and says it was these guys. And that's when the composers send an attack at Okarun and Aira, and they leap off and transform in midair. And this episode is pretty much just nothing but Okarun and Aira aura farming. Like, there's so many just awesome shots of them. But yeah, it turns out that the orchestra, when they play music, it creates physical notes. And those notes are being sent out to attack. Well, Okarun has a bright idea of charging at them, and as he's running at them, some of the notes come flying, and he smacks one of the notes out of the way with his hand. But as soon as he touches it, it explodes. And that's when Turbo Granny informs them that those notes are dangerous. Don't let them touch you. And the orchestra just creates a bunch more notes. And we just get another really cool shot. I love the fact that we're in, I don't know if I want to call it the empty space, because the empty space is created by aliens. I guess maybe this is like the empty void. This is the demon mirror world. So I guess it's pretty much the demon version of the empty space. I love the fact that everything is in black and white, except for Aira's hair, Okarun's highlights, and then like his little red coat. So I just like the fact that only certain things are colored to kind of emphasize them. But yeah, they're going to have to dodge all these notes. And that's when the composers create even more music and the entire scenery changes. So now they're in the middle of a rice paddy field instead of being in the middle of a music room at the school. And so they just keep sending more explosions at them. More notes are just flying at them. They're having to dodge more explosions as the notes hit them. Meanwhile, Okarun is just standing and watching as Aira uses ballet moves to dodge all the notes. So this is basically just like a visual representation of what Turbo Granny was trying to tell Okarun earlier about having to visualize the beats, like feel the rhythm of the battle. Aira's doing that. She's listening to basically a song in her own head, and she's dancing to it. And her doing that, she's feeling the battle's rhythm, and she's able to use her ballet moves to dodge out of the way. And Turbo Granny's basically trying to tell Okarun, you gotta do that. You need to dodge like that too. You gotta feel the rhythm of the battle in order to move, in order to get stronger. And that's when Okarun gets hit in the face with a rest note. And I love the fact that the rest note causes you to freeze. It basically causes you to rest. And Turbo Granny starts slapping the hell out of Okarun because he got hit with it. And she was like, I told you earlier not to get hit by those, especially the rest note. And then she immediately gets hit by the rest note. So she's frozen too. So they're both just frozen as more notes come and start exploding around them. And this causes Okarun to depower. And he starts beating himself over the head about this. He's like, I fought a lot of tough opponents in the past few weeks, and I thought that I was a lot stronger than this. Like, it basically got him into the mindset that, you know, he can just overcome his battles. But then he realizes that he's not. He's got to get stronger if he wants to protect his precious people, especially if he wants to protect Momo. And Turbo Granny is trying to snap him out of it. She's like chucking dirt clogs at him and saying, this is not the time to whine. You got to move your spine. You got to feel the rhythm of the battle. Picture a song in your head. Any song, it doesn't matter what it is. Just hear it in your head, feel it in your bones, and dance to it as you fight. And Okarun admits that he's never listened to music. He doesn't have a song. But then that's when he gets a flashback of Hayashi. That's when he realizes that he felt the rhythm of that music. We even have a quick cut where it shows Okarun, Aira, and Momo headbanging to the song. It seems like just a throwaway gag in the previous episode, but no, it's actually brought again here, and it's showing. Remember how like as soon as you heard the music, you just immediately started dancing to it? That's what you gotta do. You gotta just feel the music, feel the rhythm. Don't overthink it. And as he's doing this, he starts thinking about the song, he starts thinking about Hayashi. Meanwhile, Aira is doing her best to dodge, but at one point she ends up getting stuck in the rice paddy field because the notes that she's been dodging has been hitting the ground and softening it up. So at one point when she tries to dodge, she ends up hitting the soft dirt and sinking in. So now she's immobile. So more notes just come flying at her. And it looks like she's about to get blown up when Okarun in Turbo Granny mode flies in and is able to save her because now he's hearing the beat. He's hearing the rhythm of the battle. And then we just have a cool moment where we have the Ayashi song playing as Okarun is just running through all these notes and dodging all of them because he's hearing the beat of Hayashi. So he's now feeling the rhythm of the battle. And that causes him to dodge a bunch of notes, get in close, where Aira kicks one of the composers in the head, and it knocks his head off, and he ends up turning into paper. He turns back into the painting. So they realize that to get out of here, we got to defeat all the composers. If we destroy them, then they turn back into paintings, and everything will go back to normal. So then we just got more cool aura farming with Aira and Okarun, as well as Turbo Granny. There's so many shots. I don't even know what panel I'm going to choose for my thumbnail because there's just so many cool images in this that I'm not even going to be able to show all of them. But also the fact that the composers, they realize, okay, these guys are getting better now. We got to turn this up a notch. So they start singing. They each play their own individual song, like their own individual music. And so I love this like image where we get just like different backgrounds to fit each of the composers. And I love how like this is all drawn and colorized. Meanwhile, they are mostly still black and white. Like some things are still colorized. Them doing this basically transforms the area from a rice paddy field into a auditorium. So now they're in this empty auditorium. This is when we get the next genre for Dandadan, which is Attack on Titan. Because they start playing and this giant dude just pops up. And basically this is going to be the, what the hell is it called? The choir. So this is the choir for the composers. And they start singing. And as they start singing, a bunch of tiny dudes start falling out of their mouth. So they're basically building an entire army of faceless goons to attack Aira and Okarun. Yeah, this series is so freaking weird. So yeah, we have composers coming out of paintings being brought to life. They're using musical notes to attack Aira and Okarun. They send them to a rice paddy field. They send them to an empty auditorium. They summon giant choir members to sing, and them singing causes a bunch of dudes to fall out of their mouth, and now they're building an army. This entire series is weird, and that's why I freaking love it. But they start rushing over. They start surrounding Aira and Turbo Granny and Okarun. Turbo Granny's trying to say, ignore them, don't bother with them, they're just illusions. We got to go after the main culprits, which are the composers. Try to find them. And so we have a moment where they get completely surrounded. Aira reaches out her hand for Okarun. Okarun grabs it. And then she uses her hair to wrap around one of the choir members and pulls the two of them out. And as she's doing this, she throws Okarun in the direction of the composers and says, you take care of them. I will handle these guys. And so we just have a moment where Aira just pretty much has her own Attack on Titan battle with the choir members. So she's just flying around using her hair to take shots at these giants. It's a pretty cool animated scene. It reminds me just very much of Attack on Titan. We even have like just very similar shots of Attack on Titan. You can easily tell that they were using that as inspiration for the animation. So we just have her like just swinging around using her hair. And I just love this shot where she takes out like one of the final choir members. And as soon as she kicks it, we just flash. We have this super highly detailed image with all pink to represent Aira. And then it immediately flashes out and the choir member goes down. Meanwhile, Okarun is just rushing towards the stage. And as they're doing that, as he's rushing towards the stage, we have Symphony Number 9 playing up, and it's getting to its highest moment, like the fastest tempo of the song, and he's just dodging through all these dudes. I'm gonna put just like a little short clip of this moment, but if you like this clip that you're about to see, that's pretty much what the entire episode is with this fight. I just think this is like a great moment that really encapsulates all of it, but this is what you're gonna get. So yeah, that's basically the entire battle up until this point. It's just a lot of cool fighting and animation that goes really well with the songs that they're playing. It goes from classical music to Hayashi, back to classical. It's awesome. But eventually Okarun, he just starts charging towards the stage, dodging all these guys, knocking them out of the way. And as he's running, he's thinking, okay, I can only go all out twice, but there's multiple composers. I'm not going to be able to hit all of them, but I have to get rid of all of them if I want to send us back. So what do I do? And that's when he remembers Turbo Granny, when Turbo Granny was saying 5 switches per beat. Okarun only has a couple of beats. He has 2 beats. Meanwhile, Evil Eye has 4 beats. But the thing is that there's switches in between those beats. That's what this entire fight was about. In fact, we saw that multiple times where whenever the composers were sending out notes, we saw the notes being connected to each other, and it was basically like chain attacks. It was to show that there's switches to the beats. Basically, the whole battle is, okay, switches to the beats, feeling the rhythm. I have 2 beats, but there's 5 switches per beats. That means that if I'm following what Granny is saying, I can do 5 attacks in 1 beat. And so he puts that to the test, and he's able to hit all of them by only going all out once. So it's not just you have 2 beats, which means you can only do attacks. No, you have switches in between the beats, which means that you can do 10 attacks in your 2 beats. So Okarun does that. He does 5 switches in 1 beat. He's able to hit all of the composers, and they're back into the real world. And I love how we have this moment where they're just kind of like, okay, we just went through that. Aira is just saying, you know, awesome job, Okarun. And Okarun immediately just does his whole like shy thing where he's like, you know what? I was able to defeat it thanks to you. So thank you, Aira. That hits Aira. Aira, like we have like an immediate response where we see like cutesy Aira, and she's like, oh, you were so awesome, Takakura-kun. But then we realize that that's just in her head. That's like her normal reaction. That's the act that she plays. We've seen this before in multiple episodes, especially in season 1, where Aira will play like the cutesy character so that everyone will love her. That's the way that she gets people to like her, is by just playing up this overly cutesy act, but that's not the real her. And so her first response is to do the cutesy act, but she doesn't do it. She's even saying, come on, my normal self, come out already, do it. Why aren't you doing it? And it's because she's starting to fall for Okarun. I mean, we already saw her, she has an attraction to Okarun. This is where she like actually falls in love with Okarun, where she realizes that Okarun isn't just being nice to her because of her cutesy act. Okarun's seeing the true her. And so now that she realizes that there's someone that's actually seeing her true self and not running away from it, she's like having that moment. So yeah, better watch out, Okarun Momo shippers. But then she immediately turns to Turbo Granny and just starts yelling, and they start having like a little fight with each other because Aira's pissed off that Turbo Granny's the one that put them into this mess. Like, they wouldn't have been in this situation if it wasn't for Turbo Granny. Meanwhile, Turbo Granny is like, me putting you in this situation was all a training, and it worked. You've now become stronger because you followed my teachings. They ask her, like, how the hell did you know about this anyways? And Turbo Granny just says, well, like, people have fears of the paintings watching them. So that fear was able to turn into a demon over time. It was able to turn into a yokai. And so there's the urban legend where if you go into the music room and you play a note at 2 a.m., the portraits will come to life. They'll take you into this other world, and if they kill you there, you die in the real world. Which is part of one of Japan's, I think it's 7 urban myths. There's like 7 urban myths when it comes to schools. Dandadan already touched upon one of them with Taru, but there's like other ones. I think Hanako is considered one of the 7. Another one is like the steps, or if you count the steps as you're walking up, an extra step will appear. So yeah, Turbo Granny just basically mentions if you play on the piano at 2 a.m., they'll come back. And then we have this funny moment where Turbo Granny starts climbing down from the piano, but as she does, one of her foot hits the key, which obviously plays that note. And then everyone's just like, oh no. And then we immediately zoom out of the school, and we have the school being transformed into the mirror world. So it's not shown, but it's pretty much heavily implied that the composers came back to life once again, and Aira and Okarun had to fight them off once again. So everything that they just went through, they had to go through it all over again because Turbo Granny accidentally hit one of the notes with her foot, which I just thought was pretty hilarious. And then that's when we get to the serious moment where Manjiro, being the only smart person in the group, is like, yeah, we're going to have to just exercise Evil Eye. You have put us in danger, Gigi. You have almost killed Momo if it wasn't for her quick thinking. You have been training, but you're not able to hold back the Evil Eye. And you not being able to control the Evil Eye is just putting everyone in danger. You're going to constantly have to live in fear of touching any cold liquids. You are not going to even be able to live with your parents because your parents are not going to be able to understand this. They're not going to be able to hold you back if something were to happen. So I've already called Hayashi. They're going to come back tomorrow and we are going to perform the ritual. I will be the one doing it this time since Seiko refuses to go through with it. And we're going to get rid of the Evil Eye. And Momo tries to fight about it. Seiko doesn't put up any argument because she already knows that Manjiro is correct. And he is. I've seen some people like online trying to say that what happened in the last episode wasn't Gigi's fault. It 100% is Gigi's fault. The Evil Eye is called Evil Eye for a reason. It's because it's evil. It has a sad backstory. Doesn't stop it from being evil. There's a bunch of real life serial killers who have tragic backstories. That doesn't make me sympathetic to them being free or anything like that. They're still evil. And Gigi, he's the one that literally almost killed Momo. So yeah, I side with Manjiro here. But Okarun calls out Gigi, and basically he just kind of says, I understand why Gigi did what he's doing. Like, you trying to make friends with the Evil Eye. It's understandable, but it's putting people in danger. What you did really to Momo really pissed me off. But what pissed me off even more was my own weakness. Was the fact that I wasn't able to do anything to help Momo out of that situation. And so I'm going to help you, Gigi. I'm going to help you out by fighting the Evil Eye and beating it into submission. So he tells Aira to go up to Gigi to splash cold water in his face. I love the fact that Turbo Granny is like all on board with this. She's completely on Okarun's side. But Aira does so. Aira chucks the cold water into Gigi's face. Gigi transforms into Evil Eye. Okarun transforms into his Turbo Granny form. And the two charge at each other. And that's how the episode ends. So we're going to start off the next episode with Evil Eye versus Okarun. And there's one scene that I'm looking so forward to. It's one of my favorite panels in the series of all time. I'm not going to spoil what it is. Hoping the anime does it right. Right, because it is one of the best panels in Dandadan, in my opinion. I have faith, though. Science Saru has been doing an amazing job. This episode was awesome. I loved it. I loved the whole fight scene. I love the way that Science Saru did it. Not only with just the coloring, but I also love just the way that they mixed the music and the music tempo to go along with the fight. So it wasn't just, oh, we did this fight scene and then we're just going to overlay a classical song to it and that's it. Like, the fight actually goes along with the music. So when the music's picking up tempo, the fight picks up tempo. When the music has a lull, the fight has a little bit of a lull. So that was just phenomenally done. The animation was cool. There's so much aura farming, like I said, so many cool shots. I love how we're not just having battle for the sake of battle, but the battle is actually doing character development. So we literally have Okarun getting stronger by realizing he can do the switches in between the beats. And we literally have him fighting composers to learn how to do the switches in between the beats. We literally have him doing a musical battle so that he can learn the rhythm of battle so that he can become stronger. And I just love how little moments that seem like gags in previous episodes come back to play a part. Like the whole head bobbing in the last episode where the three of them were headbanging to Hayashi. Well, it turns out that that actually plays a part. It wasn't just a throwaway gag in there just to be a little bit funny. It actually plays a part in Okarun's growth, because that's what triggers him into realizing that when he heard that, his body immediately started moving to the beat, and that's what he's got to do here. He's got to create a beat in his head and move to it. I also love how the little gag of Aira switching between super cutesy to like overly vulgar is not just a gag thrown in there to be funny, but it's actually showcasing Aira's fake persona with her true self, and it shows that Aira develops feelings for Okarun because it shows that Okarun doesn't care about the fake persona. Not in the sense that he hates the fake persona, but just that he's not just friendly or thankful to Aira because of this fake persona like everybody else around her. Everyone else treats her nice and well and stuff like that because of this fake persona. Okarun has seen her true self and he's completely okay with it, which shows growth in both Okarun as well as Aira, because then Aira starts realizing that she doesn't have to put on an act around her true friends. So I just love how all these little bits, they seem like just throwaway gags, but they actually have a part in character growth, and they come across later on to show that growth. So I thought all of that was great. This is awesome. I love it. So there you go. There's Dandadan, Season 2, Episode 8, aka Episode 20. You Can Do It, Okarun. And this episode covers the latter half of Chapter 57, 58, 59, and 60. So if you want to jump into the manga immediately after this, I mean, I would say go ahead and read Chapter 60, but you can just jump into Chapter 61. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next one is more to your liking. With that said, thank you once again, and I hope you guys and gals have a good one. Later.